Hello, hello, hello. What a pleasure to be with you guys. It's absolutely wonderful. And I've been very, very inspired to hearing Brian's presentation. And yes, it did surprise us, which was which was great. So just a word of introduction about myself. I'm an entrepreneur and mindset coach, and I help business owners reach their full potential. So this theme of high performance, I think for me is very connected to this, to what I think is reaching your full potential. And I love what Brian was expressing. And I do agree that there might be a little bit of confusion in our society, maybe in the Western societies in general, about what it is to be high, or maybe what it is to be happy, in the sense that they can be some confusion or association with something very exalted, something very like party life, and that's how you should be feeling all the time, like partying on the yacht and champagne and all that. And I like as well to see maybe another way of looking at happiness and the highest experiences, which is maybe more on the eastern side of the world, which is, for example, approaching happiness in a way that is more sort of a calm, consistent feeling, maybe contentment, something more stable, and sense of peace, maybe rather than something very sort of exalted, an exaltation of the senses. So this is what I would like to bring to start with on this idea of high, and on this idea of full potential. What I mean by full potential, for example, is more how to have the biggest impact, but also how to live your true life, or to be very true to yourself. And that's when you're going to be high performing, when you are really authentic, really aligned to who you are, what you want, and as well to the biggest impact that you can have in the world. So maybe a slightly different way at looking at the definition of what high performance can be. So I was joking with Gunsu when she reminded us that we have this event coming up this week, and I was telling her, "Oh my, yes, I am really high performing these days at the moment, as there's a lot happening in my life. It feels like a very intense period, as I've got an important event coming at the end of May. It's busy in my work, so it's very intense, both on the personal and professional side of things, which is great. But wow, it's a handful." So I like to maybe offer an approach that is really relevant to my experience of high performance. And high performance for me is not necessarily climbing Everest or winning an award or breaking a record. I think it can be really everyday life too. Like what I'm living at the moment, all these intense things, having not only one to-do list, actually, I was going to say a full to-do list, but several to-do lists to juggle. I'm thinking, my neighbors with 2 kids, then they wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm thinking people involved in charity, volunteers, sort of the hidden heroes maybe of everyday life. Aren't they high performing too? Like, wouldn't that be fair to say that they are really performing to a very high level? And I think that to be able to deliver the best work, whatever that is, it can be with your family, it can be with your friend. It doesn't have to be only focused on work as well. I guess that's probably a vision that we have in general, right? If you're thinking high performance, we're thinking either sports or maybe work. What about your life? What about your personal goals? What about what you want to achieve for yourself? Doesn't that deserve all your attention, all your energy, all your motivation, all your drive, your passion? So the way I'm approaching, this period for me that's being very intense, is actually not putting too much on my plate, and I'm not trying to be everywhere at the same time. It can be frustrated because I would like to be able to achieve more. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd like to be able to do it all at the same time, but I know it's not possible. So I'm actually being super attentive to my limits and to my needs. Yeah. And acknowledging those intense periods And I would invite you to understand as well what works for you. So for example, I work with a client who is also self-employed. She works as a script writer in the cinema industry in Paris. Pretty cool, eh? And she alternates between periods of work that she's able to manage quite easily and periods of very, very intense work and pressure and festivals, and Cannes is coming up soon, and that kind of stuff. And she realized about the work we're doing together, that one of the most important things for her during those intense periods was to make sure that she was not compromising on her me time every day. She had to have these me time, although there was everything else going on at the same time, and she had to produce some work with a timeline, etc. The fact that she made sure, and she's still working on that, working on how she can improve not only the way she feels during those intense periods, but also how to make everything on her side so that she can also, have the best creativity, the best ideas, produce the best scripts and scenarios, and the best stories. So that's about thinking about how she has the time for herself. Yeah, so she has the time to release the pressure, she has the time to recover, she has the time to reset, etc., etc. And I wanted to share with you, I'm going to share my screen in a minute, a lovely little sort of graphic. I hope that you can see the screen now. What I thought what would make me productive, and you can see the first circle that says hard work, what actually does make me more productive. And then you've got hard work, exercise, eating healthy, sleeping, having time off. And if it was my graphic, I would add to this to meditation. So again, it's very different. We're all very different, and for some people it would be being in nature or doing other things. So it's really important to remember that, right? So it's not by filling your diary with hard work and making yourself busy that you are going to achieve your highest performance. That's might be an idea or a stereotypes that we might have of imagining how it should be. But it's not the way it works in my experience, and it was shared as well with Brian's approach that he presented to us. So for me, this me time that maybe my client was referring to is the meditation, is the sleeping as well. Oh, I'm such a sleeper. I sleep so much. It's absolutely incredible. and I meditate. And it's been a very, very important part of my routine and balance for 3 years, the meditation part. And it's a non-negotiable. I do no compromise on that, on my daily meditation. And I found it's so helpful to maintain my balance and also the balance, in my brain. And I work with a coaching program that's called Positive Intelligence, that you might have heard me talk about in other presentations. And it really helps on work on this, self-sabotage and all sorts of a default program that we might have picked up. And when Brian was sharing as well in his presentation, I think that's what happens to a lot of people that end up needing maybe some drugs and medication to sort of counteract this effect of this inner sabotage. And I really believe by exercises such as mindfulness, such as meditation, coaching exercises as well, you can really help real balance the brain and help create new neural pathways so that your brain and your mind can support you rather than sabotage you. And, in sports, athletes know very much the importance of mindset, right? Visualization that you can do, the importance in believing in yourself. And I remember seeing some experiments that were really, really inspiring for me about basketball players that they'd been put into 3 different groups. So one group was doing nothing. One group was only visualizing and practicing in their head doing shots, basketball shots. And the first group was practicing. and they were doing shots every day. And it's so interesting to see. So of course, the first group that did nothing, didn't get any results, didn't improve in their basketball practice. But both the second and the third group, the group that had visualized only and the group that had practiced only, got to the same level of results, of improvement. So I really believe that, you know, with both these aspects, working on the mindset as well as doing and, you know, practically practicing, this is where you can achieve the most results. And the difference that I would bring to things is that rather than performing, you know, by pushing yourself, no pain, no gain kind of approach, you know, being really hard on yourself, working with pressure, fear, stress, shame, or guilt, I think you can really switch to a very different approach, and being pulled by creativity, passion, purpose, meaning, and the joy, you know, finding the joy that fires you up, and motivates you. I think that creates a very, very different results in the performance. And I actually believe that it's the way to access your best performance, you know, and that actually it's only available this way, not by the pushing, no pain, no gain way. So that's my, you know, my personal opinion. And it's not only the way that to access your best performance, but also the way to enjoy it, you know, along the way, to enjoy the journey, having the most fulfilling, enjoyable, pleasant, constructive experience. Just to summarize a little bit, so as you've understood that to high perform, what I do is that I meditate, but I also, you know, take breaks and I admire the flowers. I look at the flowers, look at the skies. I smell my tea. I really take my time to be here now, be grounded and connected to my senses. So that really helps me to get into my high performance state. Or is it rather that it's when I smell my tea that I actually high perform? I'll leave you with that question. Thank you for your attention.